The first thing to lay down is the bubble wrap. You lay it down bumpy side up. If one piece is too narrow and you need to tape two pieces together, use duct tape on the smooth side. Duct tape works best in all of the water. Make sure that's on real well. And you have one nice big flat piece of bubble wrap. You take your wool and make sure it's not twisted, as straight as you can, and you start laying down drafts of wool, which means a pulling and one layer. What you're going to do is continue pulling drafts and lay them all out in the same direction in the shape you want your felt piece. When you're pulling drafts, you take all of your fingers up against the pad of your hand and lightly, with very, very soft pressure, pull a little bit of the wool out and lay it down in the direction that you're laying down. So once again, you take your four fingers up against the fat of your hand, you grip the wool lightly and pull some away. That is called a draft. Lay down many thin layers of wool rather than a few thick layers. Just remember, it's like the nail polish rule. A few thin layers are much better than a few thick layers. If you need to make a particular size in your piece, remember to allow about 20% for shrinking. The size I need is going to be 21 by 11, so I'm going to make it 25 by 13. Have your measuring device ready there. 25. You could also mark it out with tape if you feel you need to have something exact. And then begin to lay the wool in the opposite direction, the other way. The reason you lay out the fibers crisscross is so that the microscopic spurs on the shafts of the fibers will more easily catch onto one another. Positioning each layer perpendicular to each other gives the fibers a head start on getting tangled up with each other. Press down on the pile with your hands to see if you feel any thin spots. If you do, add more fiber in those spots. A good way to look for inconsistencies is with a flashlight. The number of layers you lay down varies greatly, but between 4 and 8 is the general idea. Another way to gauge is weigh out 2 ounces of wool per square foot. Now it's time to lay out your design. Using different colored wools to create your pattern is a good start for beginners. If this is your first time felting, my advice is to start simple this way. Later on, you can add more elements such as yarn, mohair, and silk. I go over that in more detail in the video titled Add-ins. So now is a good time to make sure you're happy with it. A good tip is to get very far away and squint at it. If anything jumps out at you as just being wrong and you don't like it, it's not too late to remove it. Even if you want to go all the way down to this bottom layer, it's best to do it now and be happy with it, And if you've got a big pile of mixed up wool that is no longer going to be in a skein, you can always use it for something else. You can use it for needle felting or stuffing something. So don't worry about wasting wool. Make sure you're happy with your design, and you'll be glad you did. You press it down lightly with your hands. If you're happy with it, you can go ahead and cover it up with the tool. And a good stopping point is right now. If you feel like you're tired and you don't want to roll it today and wet it today, you can just leave it like this so that no family members or animals with their nosy fingers or whiskers get into your work until the time that you are ready to roll.